On this episode of Deleted WrestleZone, we're going to talk about the 3-day event the New Japan Pro Wrestling put out, MLW, NWA, and many other things we're going to talk about. So sit back, relax, and get ready to watch another episode of Deleted WrestleZone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is J-Rod here for Deleted WrestleZone. Again, Nico's not with us today to do this episode, but like I said, I hope he be able to return to do an episode again, since he is doing other things. But like I always say, the show must go on. So let's talk about one of Nico's favorite subject. We're talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, as you've been aware, they just had, we're getting close to the New Japan Cup. So they started out with a 2-day New Japan Road. The first one took place on February 20. It was pretty good. Let me go from start to finish, see how it goes. It started out with a young line match between Yota Tsuji versus Gabriel Kidd. Now, as you all know, there has now been a bit of a rivalry between the young lions. Not only the ones in Japan, but also with the ones in the LA dojo under Shibata's training. So the victor on this one was Tsuji. I have to say he's pretty impressive, but so does Gabriel Kidd. If you guys don't know who he is, he actually was in Rev Pro, but now he cannot use any of his abilities that he was known for back in the UK. But he has to start as a young lion, which is a good thing. That's how you learn. Now the next match was a 8-man tag team match with members of Chaos, Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and Ospreay were teaming up with Young Lion Yoya Umura versus Suzuki Goons, Minoru Suzuki, and Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Taichi. Now, this match, I don't know what you guys would think of it. Umura went directly beeline to Suzuki. I'm like thinking, holy shit. Does he have a death wish? I'm like, I don't know what he was thinking, but it was awesome. I think he's trying to prove himself. Now, I will explain more about Umura in a bit with the next, on the second day of the New Japan Road. But, oh my god. Nico and I would talk about this for who knows how long. But definitely, yeah. I don't know what was going on, but it was amazing to see Umura try make a beeline for Suzuki. But it was a good match, I'm not going to lie. But sadly, as always, Suzuki Gun takes the victory on this one. Next match, we had a very unusual 6-man tag team match. First team, we had, who was it? Hold on, I got my notes. Oh yeah. Toa Hanara teaming up with GHB, Grid Heel Bash's Togi Makabe, and Humna against Chaos members Kaguchika Okada and Toriano teaming with Colt Cabana. So it started out great with this one. As you all know, there has been some great dynamics between both Yano and Colt Cabana. Now, if you guys may have heard, people are still talking about him, is he in Chaos? Well, we don't know yet. But Yano and Colt were going back and forth telling him, you first, you first, you first, you first, you go, you go, you go, you go. And then Okada goes, I go. That is a funny segment. I don't know what is the whole thing with that, but I was so into it completely with how the whole thing went. You know, it was so awesome. As you all know how, but it was great between these two. Now, you have one guy who's serious. You got two who are comedics. Come on. Great dynamic. But the way the match ended was kind of interesting. As you know, Toru Hanara had Colt Cabana right in his grasp, but of course, you all know Toru Yano. He likes to get away with things. So he actually cheated his way by giving Toru Hanara the low blow and having him take the win. So that's how Toru Yano works. You know, he finds a way to cheat himself through, even though he's a babyface. But he's like a babyface that likes to cheat. You know, I don't know where that came from, but I would like to see more of both Colt and Yano together. Next match, we had a 10-man tag team match. Tiger Mask, Yuji Nagata, Satoshi Kojima, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, and Manabu Nakanishi versus LIJs, Bushi, Hiromu, Sanada, Evil, and Naito. Now, this is one of those final matches for Nakanishi. Now, I wasn't much turned on this one because I was lost in the shuffle a bit. But I'll just skip ahead and tell you who win. Tiger Mask, Nagata, Kojima, Tenzan, and Nakanishi. So they won. So I wasn't sold too much on this one like anybody else did. I don't know if anybody felt. Now the next match we had, let's see. Oh yeah, we had a 8-man tag team match between Bullet Club, GOD's GOD members, Jay White and Balak Fada, being accompanied by Master Hater, Yado, and Fredo Geto against Finjuice and Golden Aces. Now, keep in mind here about this particular match. Golden Ace has received a pass where they will compete for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Now, Tama Tonga's always criticized Golden Ace, both Tanahashi and Ibushi, due to the fact that this is just a newly formed team. Unlike Tama and his brother Tonga have the Girls of Destiny, they've always been a tight-lipped team since 2016. And they always believe that there is no way Golden Ace could beat them. But also on the other side of this, we have Finjuice, who are also entitled for another opportunity of the tag team titles, since they won them from GOD back in Wrestle Kingdom, and then they lost those titles during the New Japan of America tour. I don't remember which ones they lost it, but they lost it there. But sadly, Bullet Club always wins this one. But the following day, that's when Golden Ace will face off against GOD. We'll get to that in a bit. And then the next match, the next two matches, they were both title championship matches. First one, we have Roppongi 3K versus the Mega Coaches. Now, this is an interesting match. Reason I say this, and Nico would agree, this is the perfect opportunity that Roppongi 3K, Sho, and Yo needed, because they've been under Rocky's wing ever since they formed. Like since they first won the first Super Junior Tag League tournament, and they already won it 3 times straight. As for Taguchi, he's always been like the fill-in coach. Basically, they both think about it, and somehow Taguchi convinced Rocky he's still one of the greatest junior heavyweights of all time. And of course, Rocky appreciates that at Taguchi. So I think they wanted to prove they can reach the number of the championships they won. For Taguchi, I think it would have been the 9th as a junior heavyweight tag champion. And for Rocky, 6. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, but for Sho, this is a perfect challenge to see what they can do against their own masters. And believe me, this was a great match. This was one of my favorite matches of the night because it's masters against students. Excuse me. I feel a little sick, but I'll be fine. So anyway, every move they done, I don't care how they were doing it, it was so great and intense because Sho and Yo want to retain the titles. Mega Coaches want to still be part of the game because even though they reached their limitation. But man, that was a good match. But of course, there has to be a winner, and that winner turned out to be Roppongi 3K. But this is the funny thing that happened after the match. Now, there was a rule from the mega coaches: nobody drinks before the match, and sadly, one did, and this person was Taguchi. So basically, he dropped the ball. I thought it was funny, but yeah. Now the next match is for the Never Openweight Championship match. This one was between the challenger Tomohiro Ishii versus the current champion Shingo Takagi. Now, Shingo is the, how we call him, the double never open champion. So basically he has two titles. One is the Never Openweight Championship and the Never Openweight Six-Man Tag Team Champion. So, but I have to say, with Shingo, doing this has brought a new intensity into him, because if you all known Shingo Takagi for years, that he was one of the best junior heavyweights of his time. And now, ever since last year, throughout 2019, when he made the jump to heavyweight, he's now been stepping up his game, and I was impressed. And Shingo proved it this time, proving that he can hang with the heavyweights, including taking on guys like Ishii. And man, they threw some powerful moves. I just don't know what to expect. But of course, like always, there has to be a winner, and that winner was Shingo. I was pretty happy with this one. I feel like this year is going to become LIJ's years. I don't know how Aniko would feel, but he probably would agree with me. But we'll probably have basically a big conversation on this one. Now, the second night, it was on the 21st of February. It started out with a tag team match with Young Lions, Umura and Tsuji Yoda versus Gabriel Kidd and Tiger Kid. Now, I talked about this about Umura before. Now, it turns out that Umura was under the teachings of Tiger Mask. Now, Tiger Mask told Umura, bring out a bit of your aggressiveness, and he wasn't doing that. And somehow he was able to do that with Minoru Suzuki. And this is becoming more of not a rivalry between them, but more like he wants to show his master that he can still have it, even if he's not under his wing, because it appears that under his wing it's Gabriel Kidd. And sadly, Gabriel Kidd and Tiger Mask took the victory on this one. But this is not the end of that match between those two. Second match, we had a 8-man tag with Roppongi 3K and Finjuice against Suzuki-gun, Minoru Suzuki, Desperado, Kanemaru, and Taichi. Now, as you know that in this particular match, Kanemaru and Desperado, if they able to pin the Roppongi 3K, they are entitled to get an opportunity of the junior tag titles. But sadly, it didn't happen, so Finjuice and Roppongi 3K took the victory. So we just gotta wait and see who will be the next victors for this particular title run for the junior tag team. Because if you all recall, Bushi and Shingo made headlines last year, winning those titles. The year before that, it was Desperado and Kanemaru. But we just gotta wait and see who will be the ones that will take those titles from Roppongi 3K when we get there. Next match, we have Chaos members Yoshihashi, Goto, and Ishii versus GHB, Great Heel Bash. I don't know if he's a full member, but he should be. Hanare, Hamna, and Makabe. This is one of those matches that I paid attention to. Reason is, there's one particular wrestler I have been paying attention for a while now, and that's Yoshihashi. Now, when I first started watching Yoshihashi, he wasn't giving much of his in-ring work, but now he's getting there. Like, he's building up more of his in-ring work, and that is a great thing to have. But seeing these three together always works for them, because I always feel he should be teamed up with Goto and Ishii all the time. But of course, sadly, the last G1 Climax tournament, Yoshihashi was not in it. But sadly, it didn't happen that way. And the winners for this match, I'm going to skip ahead on this one. It's Chaos, Yoshihashi, Ishii, and Goto. So it's proving now that Yoshihashi is now stepping up more into where he's known for. Now the next match is also one of those Nakanishi's final matches. It's Nagata, Kojima, and Tanza taking on Bullet Club members White, Geto, Yato, and Balak Fale. Now, so far so good. Nakanishi has able to face guys from Chaos, Suzuki-gun, Bullet Club, LIJ. So we still gotta wait and see what more he was gonna throw, because the following day, that's when they had the Nakanishi final match, like officially. But of course, as Bullet Club, they tried to cheat their way through, but because they made a promise they were gonna retire Nakanishi early, but it didn't happen that way. They even tried kendo sticks, whatever, and of course, it didn't happen that way. So, Nakanishi, Nagata, Tenzan, and Kojima won this one. So, better luck next time. Excuse me. The next match, we had LIJ members Hiromu, Sanada, and Naito versus Chaos, Rocky Romero, Ospreay, and Okada. Now, keep in mind, there is that tradition we have with New Japan where the heavyweight faces off the current junior heavyweight champion, and that is Naito versus Hiromu. Now, I wasn't sure about what this is how this is going to go with it, but it went pretty well. They were acting more like a team, and I kind of forgot much, but I'll skip ahead. LIJ won the match, but now here's what happened at the post-match. As you all know, LIJ likes to do the fist pump. Hiromu tried to pull it out, and then instead he decided to throw Naito off the ring. He tried to do his own version of like the tranquilo style, but instead of rolling down and raising, he just jumps and closes his leg in a sitting position. This is becoming more intense between these two. We still got to wait and see what's going to happen for them. So, I don't know where they're going to go from there. Now, the next match, this one is for the never open weight 6-man tag team match. Now, a while ago, Yano took the titles from LIJ and just took them because he felt that he still was entitled for a rematch, because last year they won it. He won it with Makabe and Taguchi, but they only were able to defend it maybe 4 times until LIJ won it, and they showed up. It's Taguchi and him together, but Colt was the third man. Now, they didn't show up with the titles. They didn't know what to do, so they're like, nope, they didn't bring them. And right in the moment of the match, they had the titles underneath the ring, and they walked saying that they won. Trying to be all funny and stuff. But this one is where LIJ actually took their aggression out on them, because they don't appreciate what they pulled out the last time. But who could blame them? But sadly, LIJ retained the titles. Because right now it was Taguchi that was getting his ass whooped a whole lot on this one. The next match was, of course, our main event for this one, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. Now, keep in mind, I talked about this before. Golden Ace, a new team that's just been formed, barely new, or should I say recently new, facing off a veteran team like GOD. This is unprecedented, but it was great. I loved it. One of my favorite matches of the night. I don't know if Nico would agree with me or not, but yeah, I loved it. A lot of the great moves that were done by Ibushi, Tonga, some of the strength with Tanahashi and Tama, I'm like, damn. But of course, to my surprise, Golden Ace won. Now, as you all know, that there's always a moment with Tanahashi. That moment was ruined thanks to the assault by Suzuki-gun members Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, as you all know, Zack Sabre Jr. always proven that he thinks he is better than everybody. And as you know, he just recently lost his undisputed British Heavyweight Championship to Will Ospreay. Now, he thinks that that the tag team division is dead. That he and Taichi are going to revive it better than other, and he thinks that the Golden Ace, they can't do nothing, and that they're entitled. But this is where the confusion begins. I know GOD would definitely want to get a rematch. Finjuice are still entitled for another title match for those. So now we got Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. What does this mean? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Probably Nico and I will talk about this when we get a chance. So we'll just gotta wait and see in the upcoming events. Hopefully we get to see what angle is this going to be played on. Now the next event for New Japan is the final one, the Nakanishi retirement event. Now, apparently out of nowhere, Tiger Mask decided to grant Umura and Yota another match against him and Gabriel Kidd. Basically, this is becoming more of a rivalry between these guys. Like I said, Tiger Mask and Umura were master and student. So, basically, Umura kind of blew his chances to make things right with him, tried to learn from him, but sadly, did not happen. I mean, Umura really impressed me. Like, he almost had Tiger Mask in this match. Almost. He impressed me. So I can't wait to see what this young lion can do in the future once he graduates from this whole thing. So, let's move on. We had Suzuki-gun members, Suzuki, Desperado, Kanemaru, and Taichi versus the Mega Coaches, Yano and Colt Cabana. As you all know, well, I'm going to skip ahead anyway on this one. I'm not feeling too well. So Suzuki-gun take this one. But there were some great moments on this one. Really funny, all this and that. Just don't know what's going to be next. Next match, we had LIJ, Bushi, Hiromu, and Sanada against Roppongi 3K and Toru Hanare. Here's what you should know. This one's also another situation. Bushi and Hiromu do have, if they do pin either Sho and Yo, they do get another opportunity of the junior tag titles. And sadly, they did that. So that means they could get another shot of this. But we just got to wait and see. But sadly, LIJ won this one. Next match, we had Bullet Club, Jay White, GOD, and Balak Fale versus Humna, Makabe, and Finjuice. But, as always, Bullet Club won this one, thanks to Master Heater. And then the next match, we had LIJ, Evil, Shingo, and Naito versus Chaos, Ishii, Yoshihashi, and Ospreay. Don't remember much about this one. I think I was still feeling sick on this one. So I'll just say LIJ won this one. This next match was the final match between Nakanishi with his partners Nagata, Tenzan, and Kojima versus Goto, Okada, and Golden Ace. Now, this was one of those matches that I was blown away. And excuse me. But anyway, this time it was more like people were booing between the opposing team against Nakanishi. It was like, it's normal because people are expecting the Nakanishi to win. I mean, I feel like that's normal. I don't know how you guys would feel if you saw it. So they pull every move. But each person, I noticed that they had the same capability. Like, I look at Nagata and Ibushi, they're like similar. Kojima, I would picture him the same way with either Goto or Okada. Nakanishi and Tanahashi, they're almost the same. It's like they're evil twin. That's like you put it. But sadly, this was not Nakanishi's night, so he lost, and it was a great moment. Now, right after the match, that's when we jump in with Nakanishi's retirement ceremony, and they brought in all the members of the New Japan roster unit, and okay, this time they had a Colt Cabana there too. Strange, but there were a lot of surprises from various people, and this is very traditional what they do in New Japan when one of the wrestlers decides to retire or someone from the staff. But yeah, it was a beautiful event. Not gonna lie. But yeah. So we still got the New Japan Cup tournament coming up soon, but I want to put this out right now before I forget. It appears due to the problems they're dealing with the coronavirus, New Japan Pro Wrestling announced that they were going to cancel events between March 1st to March 15th. This should be around the time of the New Japan Cup. I don't blame them for canceling, but we got to keep in mind this is the safety of their talent. They don't want nothing to happen to them, and we have to understand that if you guys don't. So that is it for now what I got in New Japan, and I'll be back with more soon. Everybody, welcome back. So we're gonna start with MLW now. Big things happen on this one. New surprises, new talent has been showing up. Promos for returns of other wrestlers, and other wrestlers are coming in. So let's start with the first match they had. Now, if you all recall, Grogan, now he goes by Logan Creed, had his first match against a guy named Moonshine Martel. Now, I haven't seen much of this Logan Creed except for that battle royale that he had. It appears that he's no longer with Dynasty. He decided to ditch them. So that kind of caused a little problem with Dynasty a bit, but yeah. So, he really impressed me. I mean, he did something cool. So I'm going to skip ahead on exactly what he did. He jumped over the ring. A guy his size. I just can't believe it. I'm like, wow. But he impressed me. But he won the match. I have to say, looks like he may have maybe I would love to see him more down with MLW, what they're going to do. But keep him, guys. Please keep him there. Then we had that little Dynasty segment where Richard Holiday is still pissed what happened when Krogan, now go by Logan Creed, decided to let Mance Warner in. And of course he was like saying that, I tried to get you nice. I just got him from Giant Arsaurus. I thought it was so funny. Gino's like listen to what's going on, because this was between those two. But it was a real funny segment. I don't know. I just love it. And then they show like this thing called the Top 10 Pro Wrestling for MLW. Like, keep in mind, these are wrestlers. They're only for MLW, so we're going to go from 10 to 1. 10, Dominic Guarini. 9, Low-Key. 8, Havoc. 7, Holiday. 6, Lawler. 5th, Warner. 4th, Brian Pillman Jr. 3rd, Myron Reed. I don't know why. And 4th, Hammerstone. No, 3, Hammerstone. No, 2, Hammerstone. And, of course, 1, Davey Boy Smith. Yeah, I know, Davey Boy Smith. I have to say he is doing some well for himself in MLW since he left New Japan, because they're only putting him in tag team division. No single competitors. Now, they showed another segment of Dynasty where they attacked Mance Warner's uncle, retribution for what happened the last time when they were closing regaining the tag team titles from the Von Erichs, but it didn't go their way. So they're still gonna go with the story between the war now with Warner and Dynasty. The next one we had the debut of Eric Stevens versus Douglas James. Now, I don't know much about Eric Stevens. Douglas James, yes, because I've seen him wrestle before, even here in San Diego when he was wrestling for the Baja Stars Cruiserweight Championship. But yeah, Eric Stevens, he really he does great things, you know. I don't know exactly. I do heard that he has a bit of MMA in his background. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll get back to that soon. But yeah, so it ended with Stevens taking the victory. Now, we had a message from Contra Unit. Hikaru Kwan is still in Japan, trying to send a message to Shima. If you guys don't know, in Fightland, Shima will face Jacob Fatu for the title. And now they send a message to AAA. They're welcoming anybody challenges to be aware that they know their presence, that they should fear Contra. As Nico would say, "Hail Contra!" That one's for you, Nico. And they're still doing a little promo from Killer Kross. As you know, he did some events for them, but he's currently now with WWE. He's still yet to make appearance with WWE. Now, as you all know, Jimmy Havoc had an intensive rivalry between him and Mance Warner. Now, of course, the feud had to end, and Mance Warner took the victory on this one. So the message is, who is next for Jimmy Havoc? Well, I hate to find out. So, gotta pay attention to that. Then we had another match with King Mo along with his manager Tom Lambert against a guy named Dr. Dax. Now, I don't know who he is, but I'm gonna skip ahead for all of you. He put him in the sleeper role, big guy, and that's how it ended. And they continue with the promotion with LA Park. He'll return. Can't wait to see him back. I would love to see what he can bring back to the table. Now, main event. This was a match that's already been set up for some time. Ross Von Erich versus Tom Lawler. Now, months ago, Tom Lawler cost Ross Von Erich a shot of the world title because he wanted a title for himself. He didn't like the fact that Ross or Marshall got involved in that. But that wasn't their fault. That was contrary. They're trying to get to their heads because they wanted those tag team titles so badly. But yeah, this was one of those rivalry match. Ross wanted to get his hands on Lawler for what he's done, for betraying them. But Lawler felt like he was the one being betrayed. But sadly, the match ended in a DQ because of Dominic Guarini, who's on Team Filthy side. Marshall Von Erich came out to help out. But out of nowhere, the biggest shocker, Eric Stevens is now online with Team Filthy. Now, I don't know what's the angle on this one. I don't know what, in the story-wise, what is this for Eric Stevens. So, we just gotta wait and see. So, hopefully we get answers on the upcoming episode. So, we'll see where we go. So, I think that's it what we got for MLW. But I will be back with more. And then, we'll continue on with the show. Alright, folks, let's go with NWA Power. So, as you all know, there has been a lot of things that happened with Tim Storm. He has been getting in the face with Tom Latimer, who had issues with him. He's trying to tell him, no one cares about you. You're done. But Tim Storm is not going nowhere. So, he's getting sick and tired of Tim Storm getting in the way and all this and that. Tim Storm's not going to let that stop him to obtain the one thing he wants back, and that is the NWA World Title. But he can't do that right now since he lost to Nick Aldis. So, but there is a way where he can get it back, unless someone loses it. Like if he lost it to Marty Scurll. But we get so Tom Latimer had enough of Tim. He tried to confront him, But recently in weeks, we have seen this person dressed up as the phony Mama Storm. I don't know who was that. I thought Tom Latimer was doing that intentionally just to get into his head. It turns out it wasn't that. So the guy who was under the costume was this guy named Danny Deals. He had a proposition for him, but Tim Storm is not having it because he did not appreciate him impersonating his mother. But the only reason he did that is because his proposition was he was going to be an attack teaming up with somebody. Now, he told him he knows everything about him. He called him a liar, a cheater, because he made him remember who was the person he beat the title for. The 10 pounds of gold. And that person revealed himself to be Jax Dane. He was the prior champion before Tim Storm. So, it appears this is a new rivalry between Storm and Dane. Basically, this is an old feud that's now being rekindled, tried to bring back its form. I'm not sure where they're going to go, but I hopefully believe they put this in the Crockett Cup. Not sure, but hopefully Nico and I probably would have a debate on this one and see where they're going to go with it. Now, this is a non-title match that people have stopped. Now, for a while, Matt Cross has been making headways about him being in NWA. He felt like this is where he should be now in his career. If you're not familiarized with Matt Cross, he was also known as the Son of Havoc in Lucha Underground. He's really impressive. I love his work. You may have seen him in All In when he faced MJF. But yeah, he was in a triple threat match with Ricky Starks and Zicky Dice. Now, keep in mind, this is not a non-title match. Both Starks and Cross don't want Dice because he's arrogant. He thinks that everything that he earns, he deserved it. And, of course, he believes that the title that Ricky Starks holds right now, the television title, is meant for him, not Starks. Now, Starks has been trying to put himself in a Lucky 7 matchup where he has to beat 7 matches all in the straight row, putting the title on the line. First one he won, it was against Dice. Second one, time limit draw, but Dice got into his face telling him he couldn't get the draw. He said he can do the job better than him. But he probably would cheat. That's how I would see it. But yeah. But Zicky Dice took the victory on this one. The next one we go with a May Valentine diary. I'll just pass that. It's too much. And then there was an interview with Aaron Stevens. Now, Joe Gallo reminded Stevens he's a coward, that he took off while question mark was getting his ass whooped. And he said, nope. So basically, he's too much of a coward to admit what happened, that he left question mark left hanging. So he thinks he is the greatest champion, but there are those that don't believe that. He's not meant for it. He's not champion material. He just doesn't want to put the title on. He wants to hold it forever. Like, obtain it just like any other. Like, kind of like what Brock Lesnar does, but more in a comedic way. So he put question mark in a match against Trevor Murdoch. Murdoch was this close in winning. This close. But, of course, Murdoch was able to beat the question mark. Not once, twice. First time was Into the Fire. Second time, this episode. And of course, when he beat him, Stevens attacked him and tried to prove him that he'll never be champion. But you may never know. Like James Storm would say, "You bet. Sorry about your damn luck." So basically, if he loses, then that's what's gonna happen. But I'm assuming that they will have that match for that in the Crockett Cup in months to come in April, but we'll see where that go with it. And then we had an interview with Nick Aldis. Now, Nick Aldis in this story, I like how they're going with the whole thing with Marty Scurll and all that. Nick Aldis had always felt that he was embarrassed, ashamed, disgusted with Marty's running his mouth, challenging him, put the title. He thinks that Marty is way over his head for what he's doing. But Marty, he's not way over. He's just trying to prove what people have been saying, that he'll never be champion. And he wants to prove it. Even Nick Aldis is one of those guys. So he told him he'll give an opportunity for him to back down from the deal. But Marty said no. So he asked him, are you sure? He brings out Royce Isaacs. He told him, are you sure you don't want to back down? He brings out Tom Latimer. Now, when he thought he had everything under control, here comes Villain Enterprise member Brody King down the stairway, giving the helping hand. So basically, Marty's not going nowhere as long as he had the Villain Enterprises to make sure it happens. Continue. But there was a press conference that it was released on YouTube. I didn't get the chance to see it, but go see it now. Then we had another interview with Eddie Kingston. Now, what happened is Eddie Kingston has his feud with the Pope. He doesn't appreciate where he was trying to abandon Homicide because he's his friend, and he told him that he was the reason he stopped him from committing suicide. And of course, he had the Dawsons on his corner. Then Eddie brought in the bouncers, but out of nowhere, the bouncers turned their backs on Eddie Kingston. The Pope somehow was able to give them the money to turn their backs on him. And I don't know who can Kingston trust now. Basically, anybody can turn their backs on him. So they're probably going to continue with this feud, and I'm assuming this is going to take place probably at the Crockett Cup. Now, interesting news came out for the Crockett Cup. It was announced that the Rock and Roll Express are now in the Crockett Cup tournament. It's still no word who will be in it, but I will follow closely on this one. I might put it up in the news update alert or put it in the podcast, but we'll see how this goes. So, just stand by on that. Now, the main event, this was an unusual main event. It was supposed to be for the NWA Women's Championship between the current champion, Thunder Rosa, and Melina. Now, I don't know what was going on in story-wise, but I can see certain angles. Melina is being very cryptic about what's going on. Instead of trying to face Thunder Rosa, she walked away. Basically, she just walked out, and they gave her a count out, and basically, I don't know what kind of story, what is really happening, but the next part is where things got interesting. As she was leaving in the top of the stairways, Allison Kay was waiting for her. She has unfinished business with Melina because A, she blamed her for losing the title to Thunder Rosa, B, losing her best friend. So basically, she had a bone to pick to her. But out of nowhere, Camille speared Allison Kay. Now, that was surprisingly. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I can picture one thing about Camille. I think as the silent she is, I think she's trying to show she's going to dominate the women's division. It doesn't matter who has a title or who's not. So I think the problem I see in the story, I think the story where they're going, Allison Kay did not consider her as a viable threat. Her main focus was on Melina. And of course, there was a stare down between both Thunder Rosa and Camille. Now, I do see there is a possible we can see both of them competing for the title, but we just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen for that particular match if it happens. But I think that right now are giving her another push, to be more active in the women's division, because since the start of the NWA, ever since it was bought by Billy Corgan, we haven't seen her much as a wrestler. We normally see her on ringside with Aldis and her real life boyfriend Tom Latimer. So I feel like right now I think they're giving her the push to stand out more as a competitor in the women's division. I think that's something that she deserves, but her silence is what makes her great, like kind of like similar to Sonata, but not like her, but you know what I mean. So I will keep up more with this on the next in the next episode. Still no word when the Circle Square will return, but hopefully we get to see new talent. So I'll be back for more, and I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, so we're back with the Wednesday Night War, and the winner, surprise, surprise, AEW Dynamite. So you probably ask yourself, how's that even possible? Well, as always, the fans win. I mean, I love both AEW Dynamite and NXT, not gonna lie, but let's see what's the difference for views and rate. AEW views were up to 865,000 views, with the rate of 0.30. As for NXT, 717,000 views with the rate of 0.23. So basically there have been a dip down on both promotions. AEW are unable to reach the million mark like they did the first night, but hopefully down the line they can work their way up. AEW has been working great with story-wise, great matches. So there's some great things that could happen down the line in the future. So let's go from start to finish with Dynamite, see where we go from there. First match started out with the Iron Man match between Kenny Omega and Pac. Now, Kenny Omega was escorted with the Young Bucks on this one. And it was kind of unusual because this Saturday we got the Young Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman Page for the AEW titles. Well, the AEW tag team titles. So that was kind of weird, but they wanted to show their support to Kenny. And the way the match was going was so intensified. I have to say this match was one of the matches that I enjoyed watching because it was great. It was showing more of the rivalry, how it should be with Pac and Kenny. I think the first win came from Kenny when Pac actually disqualified himself. You know, he did something he was not supposed to. Ref called off the match saying he won. Second pinfall, all Pac used the broken arrow on this one. But much of the match was intensified on this one. Even the ref got knocked down. And of course, how do I say? It was so bizarre how it was going. And then all of a sudden, when the ref got knocked down, he pulls out the table, tried to take out Omega. And luckily, there was another ref, and that ref was Aubrey Edwards, stepped in. And Kenny was able to hold up throughout the last few minutes that he needed because he had him. Pac had him in the brutalizer, I think that's what he calls it. I don't know. That one submission move he's been using. And he was able to hold off. But as soon as the match was over, they've been informed they're going to continue with the match with a sudden death. So Kenny had to put all his energy to take out Pac one way or the other. So he put a lot of V-triggers, everything. But Pac was trying to avert from ever being put in the one-wing angel. And man, that was a great match. But of course, Kenny Omega came out as victor. But as for Pac, he's basically ignoring the interview, what Tony Schiavone is saying. Basically, this was his fault because he was the one who wanted this. He couldn't even get the job done. I think that's what he was trying to say. But out of nowhere, as Nico calls them pockets, or others freshly squeezed, shows up, gets in his face, but he knocked him out during the post-match interview. I don't know what was going on in that, but it was kind of weird. But we'll see where they're going to go with that. Now, they continue more with the Revolution promo. I hope you guys remember. It's this Saturday. You can watch it on the BR Live. It's only like $50. I don't know if you have it on TV, you can order it. So I'm excited. Hope you guys are excited too. Let's see. Oh yeah, we have the next match is a 6-man tag team match: Jurassic Express versus Inner Circle members Guevara, Santana, Ortiz. Now, as you all know, they Jurassic Express is the fan favorite. They're trying to look for it as a victory. So far, they were able to win some matches. Now, this match, there was an interesting moment I liked where I don't know who they had. I don't know if it's Sammy, one of the 3 Inner Circle members. They put him in the corner. All 3 members went to each corner. Luchasaurus went to the one this way, Jungle this way, and Marcos on this way. All 3 of them went charging in, gave him a boot in the kick. I was like, dang. But I'm going to skip a bit ahead. Right before the match was even won, Sammy Guevara had that little ball sack that Santana Ortiz used to knock out people. But out of nowhere, Darby Allin takes it from him and costing Inner Circle the match. So basically, he gave the helping hand. So it's still going with the rivalry between Sammy and Darby. And this match is going to take place at Revolution. So it's going to be great to see it. And then the next match we had Best Friends being accompanied by Orange Cassidy versus the Butcher, the Blade, and with the Bunny. Now, this is not a match where the Butcher and the Blade are actually doing mercenary work. They want to step up as a team now, go on their own. But if you all recall, last week during the tag team battle royal, the Bunny gave Orange Cassidy the knee to the groin, but it did not happen. There was a good moment where the Bunny took Orange Cassidy's shades and she puts it on herself, and Orange Cassidy grabbed her bunny ears and put it, and basically he actually jumped out and took out the Butcher, and the result of that, the Best Friends took the victory on this one. Now, post-match interview with Tony Schiavone, it's been announced that Orange Cassidy is going to be, for the first time ever, facing Pac at Revolution. We finally get to see Orange Cassidy on one-on-one competition. Now, those who haven't seen Orange Cassidy, you'd be surprised. Now, there are videos of Orange Cassidy of prior matches. So, watch those and you get an idea of what he can do. You'd be surprised. Trust me. You won't be disappointed. So, the next match we had is a 4-way women's match against Hikaru Shida, Big Swole, Shana, and Yuka Sakazaki. Now, I don't think this was a match either to be #1 contender for the women's title, but either one of them win, it will raise up a bit of the rankings. It was some moments with Yuka Sakazaki being all happy, but Shana, Big Swole, and Hikaru has always been the most serious ones. But I'm going to skip ahead. Hikaru Shida won this one. Now, Dark Order, a little interesting promo where they sent a message to SCU that the Exalted One is getting near. I think we're all still buzzing who's the Exalted One, but I think we are too many speculations on this part. But we'll just wait and see what's going to happen. Now, before the end of the night of Dynamite, we had the weigh-in between Moxley and Jericho. And it turned out to be a brawl. It was great. It was fighting. Moxley busted open Jericho, and while Hagar, Guevara, Ortiz, Santana try to take out Moxley, here comes Dustin, who has a bone to pick with Hagar. They went all the way to the back, and of course, they're like, not through the Dippin' Dots. If you all recall what happened at the Dippin' Dots last time at Dynamite last year, that was great. I loved it. And then Darby Allin came out, and his skateboard broke in the hands of Guevara, whacking him with it. And of course, Jericho was able to put Moxley in a paradise ship and whack him down to where that area where the skill is. It was crazy. Now, I'm going to ask you guys before I go, after I end this part and jump into NXT. Do you believe Moxley can win the title, or Jericho's going to retain it? So leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Now, if you believe Jericho wins, will retain the title, tell me and why. Now, if Moxley wins, tell me why. I like to know. I want to hear you guys tell me. I like to know. Now, let's jump in with NXT. Now, it's been word now that Charlotte Flair is returning to the NXT after 4 years now. It's highly unusual for stars who started in NXT ended up on their main roster, either Raw or SmackDown. It's still unclear why that's happening. I think they're trying to find a way to boost the ratings to ensure they can find a way to beat AEW, but that's just me talking, or if you guys can see that too. But the first match they had was Cameron Grimes against Dominik Dijakovic. As you all know, Cameron Grimes, he's the kind of guy who wants to make a name for himself, doesn't matter who. And Dominik Dijakovic is still trying to find a way to get another match with Keith Lee because everybody wants to see those two fight forever. How about you guys? Do you want to see that forever? I would. But when the match seems over, here comes Damian Priest, whacks him with the lead pipe on his knee, and takes off, costing Dominik Dijakovic's match. Now, I don't know what was the deal, but I'll get to that in a little bit later where they're going with when they interviewed Damian Priest. But yeah. Then here comes Finn Balor talking about how he left his mark, how he took out Johnny Gargano, Dragunov, and I think the real question is, what's next? And then he gets against a visit by, what's their names? I got it right here. Fabian Archneer and Marcel Barthel from Imperium. They're saying that they have a message for him for the in-ring general who wants to take out. Now, as you all know, there is a great storyline with Walter that I like. I'm going to stop here for a second and give you guys a reason why. Walter is the kind of wrestler who I've been noticing, I don't know if you have, who's always been trying to prove he is the most dominant individual in the wrestling business. And he did that when he decided to prove that the British strong style is no longer superior, that they wanted to take over the NXT UK by taking out the British strong style faction that consisted of Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven. And they did that. And then all of a sudden Kushida shows up, being undefeated in NXT. Here comes Walter, decides to attack him. Reason behind that is Walter cannot tolerate any individual who is undefeated because he wants to prove to everyone he is the true unbeatable force. And of course he tried to do the same thing. So basically the story I see is this: Walter will not tolerate anybody that threatens his domain. He wants to prove he's dominant, and now he's going after the prince himself, Finn Balor. And I have to say, I like how Walter's persona fits. Like, he is the guy who wants to show he is the true dominant wrestler no matter what people say. If you're not down with it, then you are not in it. And I like Walter. I like how they're proving how dominant they are. And that's a great story to say. Give me a minute. Sit. So, they took out Balor right away as a message to Walter. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next week, but I'm excited to see what they're going to go with between Walter and Finn Balor on this one. I hope you guys get to see it. Then later we have Xia Li versus Mia Yim. Now, this was not like one of those matches that have a good storyline, but it was a good match, not gonna lie. But all of a sudden, Mia Yim was distracted by Dakota Kai and Rachel Gonzalez. Mia Yim took out Dakota Kai through a table. a couple weeks ago as payback for what happened at TakeOver War Games, where he cost her opportunity to make history. And when she lost, Rachel Gonzalez attacked her, and Xia Li, who's more honorable, tried to help, but she's too much. Now, next week, Dakota Kai will be in a steel cage match against Tegan Knox, where Rachel Gonzalez will not be able to get in the way. So that is going to be interesting. Now, speaking of cage matches, Velveteen Dream and Rod Strong rivalry has been very intense since he came back. So, what's his name? Velveteen Dream said that keep the cage on, that he would like to continue fighting him in the steel cage, and it's now confirmed. We're seeing Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream in a steel cage match this week. So, this is going to be one intense match. So, there's that. Now, next match, we had Austin Theory and Tommaso Ciampa. Now, Austin Theory was supposed to face somebody last week, but he got interrupted by Tommaso Ciampa, who's still trying to deal with why Gargano attacked him. You know, that's always been the case with Ciampa, with the whole thing. So, Austin Theory made the mistake in attacking him, and he got his ass whooped. And then, all of a sudden, this became a match. Austin Theory really impressed me. You know, he stepped up the game to take on Tommaso Ciampa, but sadly, it wasn't enough. Tommaso Ciampa won, but I don't know where Gargano took him out. And I'm assuming there's going to be another rivalry with this one in the upcoming TakeOver. Not sure, but we'll just wait and see when we get there. So, yeah. Now, the Undisputed Era have like a little segment, and they I like to call it the Unfinished Business. As you all know, Adam Cole is the only member still with the title. Now, Adam Cole told him, finish off your feud with Strong, with Dream, and then focus your attention back in regaining the North American title, which is great, what he said he needs. And then, all of a sudden, you see Fish and O'Reilly are still criticizing the Broserweights, a team that was formed, losing to them. That to them, it's like they're not gonna go away because of that. But I'm assuming they're gonna regain those titles down the line. That's how I would see it. But yeah, then we had Killian Dane versus Bronson Reed. It was a good match, but I'll skip ahead. We had Killian Dane who won the match. And then we have the battle of the Brits and the USA. So, grizzled young veterans of the NXT UK put the NXT Tag Team division on notice. But the Forgotten Sons, men who used to serve in our Marine Corps, will not tolerate these guys coming to their turf trying to say that American sucks. That's what they're... So it becomes more like we're back to a new revolution or something. I don't know. But it was great. I love this match. At first, people were not cheering for the Forgotten Sons, but later they did. Because, come on, USA had to stay stronger against the Brits. Against the Wankers. But, yeah. But, grizzled young veterans took the victory. Somehow they got smart enough to smart the Forgotten Sons. Excuse me, guys. Like I said, I've been feeling sick for a while, but yeah. Okay. Then we had an interview with Tegan Knox, who said she'll put Dakota Kai out at the steel cage match. We just gotta wait and see where they're gonna go with this one. I'm excited. How about you guys? So, and then they had a little small talk with Damian Priest about why he attacked Dijakovic. He said it wasn't personal. It's that he had enough. He had his chances to fate the way he had his chance with Keith Lee for the title. He felt that it's his time to be the guy to do it. I mean, we can talk about the rivalry and friendship between Dijakovic and Keith Lee as much as we want, but that's going to be another time. And in the main event, we had Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair. Now, Bianca Belair told everybody, "You don't belong here." And everybody were doing the same thing to Charlotte. "You don't belong here." But, as always, Charlotte Flair won. And she tried to take out Belair's knee off, but here comes Rhea Ripley trying to put her in her place. So, looks like the rivalry between Ripley and Flair is going to be great. So, that's going to take place, I think, in WrestleMania. So, we just got to wait and see when we get there. So, that is it for the Wednesday Night War. So, we'll continue more with them next week. And I'll be back with more. So, stay tuned. And we're back. Hope you guys liked the new intro I put in for this segment for news updates. So I thought it would be something cool instead of using that thingy. I got bored with it. So I kind of used compiles from wrestling shows I attended. Thought it would be cooler. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys like it, tell me you like it. If you guys don't, leave a comment. Tell me I can do better than that. So let's go with the first thing on news updates. It's been announced by Kenny Omega and also DDT Pro Wrestling. He's returning to Japan to compete for Wrestle Peter Pan. That's going to take place on June 7th at the Saitama Super Arena at Saitama City, Japan. Now, you ask yourselves, what is Wrestle Peter Pan? Well, this is their annual event, kind of like their version of WrestleMania and the Wrestle Kingdom with DDT Pro Wrestling. And of course, this will be the second time Kenny, ever since leaving New Japan, will make his appearance. It's still no word who he's competing with, but I hope DDT can announce it sooner as possible because we're not that far off. I think we're maybe March, April, June, like maybe 4 months away. But yeah, Omega's last appearance with DDT took place this past November for Ultimate Party, where he teamed up with Rio to face off against Antonio Honda and Miyu Yamashita. And of course, they were the Rio and Omega were the victors on that match. But Kenny did say that he will make appearances with DDT. The whole thing with New Japan and Kenny, that's another conversation, but we'll get to that at some point in the future. Now, if you guys know us completely, here in Deleted Wrestler Zone, we talk about things that you don't know from various promotions, and we like to talk about it a little bit. But on this news update, this is a very special one you should pay attention to. So, this was announced by All Japan Pro Wrestling. If you guys are not familiarized with that promotion, they are around the same time as New Japan. They've been around. They just announced for their annual tournament, Champion Carnival, which is a tournament whoever wins will get a shot of the Triple Crown Heavyweight Championship. And of course, the champion is involved. So they divided the wrestlers in 2 blocks, 10 each. So let's start with A block. We got our current champion, Kento Miyahara, Zeus, Suji Ishikawa, Yoshitatsu, you guys remember from WWE, Yuma Ayo, I can't pronounce the last name, Kai, Joel Redmond, Shigehiro Irie, you may know him from Strong Arts, but he has done work with DDT and various promotions, and from Pro Wrestling Noah, Takashi Shigura. So, that is all the A block competitors. Now, here is B block. We got Suwa Ma, Jake Lee, Choi Roji, Gianna Veleta, hopefully I got this right, Hideyoshi Kamiya, Lucas Steele, Ayato Yoshida, Davey Boy Smith, and X, which means they haven't announced the competitor. So that is the B block. You may recognize Davey Boy Smith Jr. is in this tournament. It's kind of surprising to me. I was well aware of this. I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast. I don't remember when. But yes, so Davey Boy Smith Jr. is in this tournament. I don't know if he's done work with them in the past, but I'll do research on that, and I'll probably put it on this channel or on the podcast, or both. I'm not sure. So that is for the All Japan Pro Wrestling Champion Carnival. It's going to take place sometime in April, but I don't know exactly how we can subscribe to it, but I'm going to do more research on this. So I'll be back on this one as soon as possible. So let's talk about the next thing, WrestleCon. If you guys know, these guys take place around the same time as WrestleMania. This was announced for one of their shows, the March Hitchcock Memorial Super Show, that's going to take place on the 2nd of April. They just announced another match. It's consistent with Aries versus Aramis versus Laredo Kid versus Black Taurus. So this is a 4-way match that's going to take place on the March Hitchcock Super Show. Then the TNA reunion is going to take place on the 3rd of April. They just announced a new participant, and that is Shark Boy. So if you guys know Shark Boy, you know what he is. He also has that Stone Cold Steve Austin look that he's done in the past. Now, you may have heard recently there have been some issues between WrestleCon and AEW. Nothing major or worse. It appears that there have been wrestlers that were cleared to participate in WrestleCon, but there are specific things that have been put out. It's been told that Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara were pulled out of WrestleCon, but there are certain wrestlers that are still there. I think these are the ones who are continuing to do autograph sessions, such as Moxley, Jericho, and Omega. They're not going to wrestle. They're just going to do autographs and meet and greets, mostly for these guys. But matches, that's still unclear. Joey Janela talked that Darby Allin was specifically requested for the Philadelphia Comic-Con. Now, there is no, issues. Apparently, WrestleCon are not allowed to sell AEW merchandise because AEW made it perfectly clear months ago that they don't want to conflict or piggyback WrestleMania due to the fact that this is WWE's time and they're willing to respect. That shows the kind of characters these guys are, proving they're willing to respect another promotion. Unlike WWE, they don't respect any promotion at all. But Joey Janela said he hopes that maybe one day WrestleCon can try to represent certain talent with AEW, but not use them as AEW stars, but just using them as wrestlers. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, last thing I'm going to say, I mentioned this already on the New Japan segment. Apparently, the events for New Japan Pro Wrestling is being canceled from March 1st to March 15th. This is being canceled due to the fact of the coronavirus. Apparently, they're pushing or postponing the New Japan Cup, so I don't know how far they're going to push back, but I'll keep tabs on this and see where we go from there. So, yeah, so that's about it. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before I'm ending in this, if you guys know what this is my brand new hat. I got this at Pro Wrestling Tees. This is limited edition. Yes, limited edition. This is with the leopard skin visor here. Villain right there. I got this at Pro Wrestling Tees for almost $30 plus shipping and delivery. That's like maybe $5 or so. So I got this because they mentioned this on Pro Wrestling Tees website that this is limited edition. The same thing I got with the sweater that I normally wear from them. So I had to get it out. It came in the mail this past Wednesday, and I love it. So pretty cool. So if you guys are thinking about getting this hat, you should do so now before they decide to discontinue. Luckily, I got it before I did. So if you guys want to look for it, go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Look for Marty Skrull. You may search it there, and there it is. So on behalf of Deleted WrestleZone, I must bid all of you adieu, so goodbye. And have a nice day, and hail the villain.